And then, of course, we have Mavs chaos.
Oh, my God, dude.
Where
things are very bad.
Things are going bad. They got drilled last night after a good start. The games are longer, Jake, than 12 minutes or whatever. They're now 16 and 18 in their last 34. So they are 4 games over 500 overall. But
played a very weak schedule to start the season.
Chaos is setting in. During the game last night, Luka got a fan ejected.
That's tough.
And Tim MacMahon tweeted. Now, did this tweet pop out during the game?
Yes.
Yeah.
He says Luka put a little video, too, of a guy. Luka Doncic asked security to eject this Suns fan who was sitting 2 rows behind mid-court press row. The comment the fan made that drew Luka's wrath, Luka, you're tired. Get your ass on the treadmill. And then let's take you to the Luka postgame. I think I'll just play it from the beginning. I think the first thing is not Tim MacMahon, but it gives you context of what happened here.
Luka, in your viewpoint, what happened from probably the midpoint, the point of the third quarter, you guys were up by 16 to essentially getting outscored by 30-something points in the next 13 minutes?
It was our defense. I think, I think Book went off. He couldn't miss. He destroyed us. I think it was our defense.
Luka, what were you frustrated about at the end of the second quarter when you got that technical?
I know I saw you when you said about the fan, That was not a true all. That was not the only thing he said. But I knew you would be the first one to point out something like that. I'm not going to say what he said, but I knew you were going to be the first one to put out something like that. So I just saw it, man. It's just funny. You always seem to be the first one to put some bad stuff about me.
First of all, 99% of the stuff I've written about you has been good.
I don't know.
I was sitting 2 rows behind us.
All right, so it was the only thing that time he said something, the only thing?
That was what you reacted to.
Yeah, I was hearing the whole first half, right? Oh, you didn't hear anything?
He was definitely hollering.
Okay, there we go.
Acted.
You put out something that was just the only thing, but
What was the final straw? What was the issue? What was the thing that...
It's not the issue. I'm just seeing you seems to be the first one to always put something bad about me.
Several of us actually tweeted that.
That's fine. It's all over.
Why did you ask for the fan to be ejected?
Because he was cursing me the whole first half too.
Why didn't you ask for him to be ejected in the first half then?
Because I never would eject a fan. They pay for tickets, but I had enough, It's a little bit of frustration.
You turned your head and looked over at him after he said that. That's what we saw.
Yeah, that's fine. Be the bad guy in the media, right? It's all right.
Fairly portrayed in the media?
No.
Physically, how are you after you look like you tweaked the...
Okay, so now we'll...
Brad Shamit.
Yeah, get it back to...
That's a lot, man. I mean, they're not very good.
Well, it's interesting. Number one, this is the post-game press conference. He has already seen Tim MacMahon's tweet.
Oh, for sure. And probably, I wouldn't even be surprised if someone on staff showed it to him. Just like, hey, you're going to get asked about this because this guy put a video out. Maybe he just saw it on his own phone.
Well, I mean,
possible.
You can see that he got a player ejected.
I know, but the idea of that was this one statement, he's going to ask you about that, so be ready. But he may have just...
But the story now is Luka versus Tim MacMahon and not Luka's frustration and the Mavs got killed, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's a disaster. And I think that it was pretty clear at the start of the season that they were putting up a little bit of a mirage by beating bad teams. They're kind of just rotten as a roster. And their coach is doing nothing. Absolutely nothing.
We don't have to play him. A lot of his is, regular. If there's anything that really stood out, go ahead and play it. But a lot of the similar stuff of Jason Kidd passive-aggressively throwing Nico under the bus by saying, this is the roster we have. This is what we, you see, and they're just tired. They're I mean, I can only do so much. And, maybe injuries will, if we stay healthy, maybe. Because no team stays perfectly healthy.
Right.
But he's basically saying, if we stay perfectly healthy, then possibly we have a shot.
Because otherwise, I just got all these minimum guys. I mean, he actually said that. Like, I got guys on minimums.
Right.
And they're having to play big roles. And so, yeah, it's definitely a complete 180 from Carlisle, where even when we didn't buy it, Carlisle would just eat all of it. For the players, for the roster, for whatever. He would just, shield everybody and say, I gotta get the team better prepared. I gotta have better plans. We need to practice a little bit differently. And kids just constantly like, what do you want me to do?
Yeah. I'm just the coach.
I'm just the coach.
Like
I'm
he'll even say
like
that when it comes to Luka's frustration or Luka's technicals, and it's I don't know. You tell me.
Yeah.
Oh wait, no, you're the guy brought in here specifically to help guide a young superstar because you were a young superstar. This is the whole point. You're a vibe guy. You're not the X's and O's guy. We established that early on. You don't. That's not why we brought you in, for your great technical mind. It was because this is the new way to do things. If you recall the Nets way, which we see how that went with Steve Nash. But you're the guy that's supposed to be able to handle all these big egos. And you haven't been able to.
No, and it just feels like they're completely rudderless from a leadership standpoint. Now, Kyrie wasn't out there. Powell wasn't out there, as Powell's out with the funniest Dwight Powell injury of all time, which is like a head contusion.
Because he gets hit in the face all the time?
Did you see WFA actually did an article about that account? There's an account called Did Dwight Powell Get Hit in the Face Tonight? I'll just tweet yes with a video.
I'm typically with you guys that kid kind of sucks, but it's not really his job to be team psychiatrist. And he can't want it for them. And a part of his thing is, the team kind of has to go through growing pains, and that was very Phil Jackson of you guys figure it out. I mean, where's the line?
No, it's a good point, but it just seems like the other thing is like Phil Jackson also had like an extremely intricate tactical system that he was implementing on both sides of the ball.
Yeah.
Where it's like if Kidd doesn't have that and he can't get the team to buy in and play hard and want it, it's like kind of like what would you say you do here?
Yeah, and I guess I would just imagine that he's just more of a defensive-minded guy.
He is. They're 21st in defense right now.
So, yeah. And maybe that's where his comments on personnel. But I don't know.
At the same time, you got to put some of this on Luka, man.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I'm getting to.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember, we've made fun of Gambo in Phoenix.
Yeah.
Because he read that scouting report from a scout before the draft. It's like, oh, this kid's a baby, he cries on the sidelines, he's immature. And funny enough, actually the first time I ever had a conversation with someone about Luka, it was pretty early in the year before they drafted him, because it was obvious that team was ass cheeks. And I was talking to Damaris about it, and he knows a bunch of guys like overseas, and he's like, yeah, everybody's sour on this guy. Like he doesn't take care of himself. He he's too emotional. Like his first intel was not that different from what we made fun of Gambo for saying. So it's not entirely wrong. I mean, this has been a problem his entire career. And most of the greats are not quite that emotional. Like LeBron's had a fan kicked out.
For sure.
Multiple
Probably in
times.
the last week, yeah.
Yeah. But it just seems like, sometimes the emotion just runs too hot. And the problem is that part of what makes him great. Like we talked about for years with like Dez. So you got to find that perfect line.
Yeah, and I as I was driving over here this morning, that's Dez is exactly who I thought of, because T.O. was another one where as I'm watching the game, I find myself just hoping, like, please, Dez, don't get mad. Please, T.O., don't call for the ball. And now it's just watching Luka with 5 seconds left in the half just literally stand there, not fight for the ball, and whether you just tweaked your ankle or not, I mean, he just didn't care at all, and then gets a tech walking off the court.
Yeah.
Like, it's becoming, like, just unbearable, where I love the guy, and we hear about how cool he is off the court, but on the court, I'm just kind of tired of this emotional battle of I love this guy, and I'm beginning to hate this guy, too.
That's where I disagree that Kidd is not the team psychiatrist. That's what he was brought in to do. He was brought in for Luka.
Yeah, but he's going to say he's the coach. And that's not a part of his duty. Is anyone else having to do that in the league? Hey, you feeling okay today? Hey, just leave the officials alone. Hey, guys, can we all gel together? Hey, can we be happy?
Or maybe it's a tougher love. Maybe it's, I have been through this. Give some of your personal experiences. In the post-game press conference, he's like, man, these guys just got to understand how Michael Jordan and Karl Malone he's saying stuff that doesn't relate to the players at all. Like, how about you? This is why you were brought in. It's what Rick Carlisle, and they always say, the scrub players make better coaches in the long run because they relate to more of the roster. And they figure out if they can figure out how to, Phil Jackson was a scrub player. Carlisle was a scrub player.
Kerr.
Steve Kerr, role player. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not necessarily scrub, but so, Jason Kidd was a superstar. And the theory was we're bringing him in, another superstar point guard who had to learn how the refs work, how the league works, how to mesh with other superstar teammates. And I feel like he's failed in his mission was to, maximize Luka.
Yeah, it's a very weird situation because I don't even really know who's in charge. Like, Cuban doesn't even really own the team anymore, which I still don't know that we've wrapped our head around. I guess they say he's going to control basketball ops, but
I heard, I was listening to House of Strauss, and he mentioned he actually still owns more of the team than, is it
Allison?
Joe Latham? Latham? What's the Golden State guy's name?
Oh, Lacob.
Lacob.
Yeah. I guess that's true.
And you always think of that guy as that's the owner.
That's true.
And
that's a good point.
Cuban actually owns a bigger piece, but maybe Lacob owns the majority share still. I don't know.
I do know they have a bunch of tech investors, even like, the guy who is in charge of Oracle.
I heard Windhorse saying Cuban owns the control share.
Yeah,
And
that
I
was
don't know what that
confusing to me.
means.
I heard them talk about that as well. But the point is just like I don't have a clue what's going on. Who's going to fire the coach? I don't really think Nico.
Right,
and,
Nico can't fire Kidd, can
I
he?
wouldn't think so, but he probably wants to because I don't really think they were a package deal. I think this whole thing was just thrown together, and that's why they have a superstar that at times can be petulant is because nobody's checking him. They don't have – I mean, obviously, like you've seen little flare-ups and the like in Miami on the sideline, but when that happens, Spo will get in somebody's ass. And he knows that Pat Riley will support him no matter what. That's why they just signed him to a 8-year insane contract. The Mavs have nothing of the sort when it comes to that type of backbone of an organization. They just don't. So if you already have a player that's kind of emotional and needs some direction and it's not there, it's just going to get worse. And then it seems like sometimes the rest of the team feeds off of him and his negativity in these moments because now Grant Williams wants to fight.
Yeah.
And he's getting ejected.
That's about the only thing he's good at these days.
Yeah.
That's been horrible.
It's been really, really bad. Really bad. Started out super positive
It
for
did.
about 6 games.
And last night I got frustrated watching the game thinking that, oh, hey, Dante Exum is back. Maybe we'll be back to being good.
Yeah.
Like, our faith is in Dante Exum
a guy
now.
just plucked out of Europe who was exiled from the league. It's all very bad, guys. It's not a good time.
And it's obvious Luka's hobbled.
Yeah.
Kyrie's hurt. And
Dwight Powell got hit in the face.
I don't know, man. It's just And a month ago, we were like, man, we're 4th in the West. Things are looking good. How about
Yeah.
Derek Lively and Derek Jones Jr.? And then
Yeah.
now it's just like, just pack it in. Who cares?
Just get to where we can fire the coach.